Thank you very much. So, hello everybody from Serbia. My name is Ivana Damnjanovic, and I'm a professor at Singdunum University. I'm going to try and wrap my answers around the three questions that we had around these three ongoing trends. So, the importance of tourism and happiness agenda today, I believe, lies in capacity to transform the world of travel. Because tourism was long considered the magic box in which no matter how many resources we use, they will materialize and we will profit from them infinitely. And I was recently asked to define happiness, and this is what I came up with, that it's multifaceted, that it's inclusive, and that it relates to the connection between individual and universal. So, in a tourism context, I guess the route forward calls for tracing backward steps to the point which allows rerouting towards a more favorable future. So these steps, happiness translates into the sentiment of gratefulness. What I mean here is that when tourism values the resources that it is invited to use and hopefully provokes this response, it's when all those who are even touched by tourism feel it as a force for good. So, happiness and tourism need to know the needs and hurts of communities and nature of destination in order to help it heal and regenerate. Now, why? Well, last year emphasized well-being motivated travel. However, I wonder whether it's really well-being if it is designed only for tourists, because well-being should be a state for all or not at all. And well-being relies on the truth, which is hidden behind destination stories. And we all, I think, travel to take up a role in a story. So the pitfall so far has been on obliterating the genuine destination stories to embrace the stories that a tourist has envisioned. So this way, destinations become all things to all people, but to its own. Whereas tourists should not be allowed to demand, but to choose from the repertoire of stories to play. So that is why local communities should be empowered to take back that narrative, which through its nuances speaks about the destination glories and visions and hurts, and even give voice to those who cannot speak. And the essence of the place creates the experience even before travel begins. Actually, even before tourism is imagined, and it exists without tourists and only then extends its reality to welcome them. However, destination local communities often don't feel fit to portray the essence, so the stories are told by third parties. And for example, responsible travel journalists, they have invaluable perspective and reach, and it should be enriched by this symbiosis with the local communities. And finally, the pre-pandemic and current time introduced and that emphasized the virtualization of both tourism, storytelling, and education. So, analyzing and discussing digital travel stories with my students during online classes has become a routine now. And how does this all extend to what I work? Well, I think academia bears an enormous responsibility of preparing future professionals, tourism professionals, for a mindful and responsible approach to tourism. Because general well being is not a competitive advantage in tourism, but a warp and weft in weaving destination and traveler stories. So, making our students equipped and self confident to take on the compiling and imagining and publishing true stories is the most sustainable role I think that academia can play for the future of tourism that we are trying to envision and support today. Admittedly, us tourism educators do have limitations in introducing this agenda, because we can't simply go and devote entire courses to this aim, but our academic freedom allows us to sneak this agenda into at least existing courses. So My teaching experience includes partnering with real travel journalists and engaging my students into simulated or real storytelling projects blended into existing courses. And this has proven to be a really particularly rewarding experience in international groups of students. So to conclude, these are the values that we teach our children, and they all support this well-being approach to life and tourism. So our task as teachers and facilitators is to extend this teaching to our students, so tourism can actually really be a means to happiness. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ivana. Very insightful presentation with some really nice points.